it comes in waves and comes in cycles in terms of, are you on a launch? Is there a big release? Is there a big event that you're trying to coordinate? And the work that kind of goes with all of those different projects.
Let's start off with the basics. Like, tell me a little bit about the product marketing role, and where we'll start is like, what's the day in the life of a product marketing manager like? And I know there's going to be some variance, but from your perspective and what you've seen, what are some of the touchstones of that experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the thing that really attracted me to the product marketing role in the first place was that from a day-to-day perspective, your job is going to vary quite a bit, but it does have some cyclical patterns that allow you to have some predictability to your role and have the ability to look around a few corners, which I can get into a little bit later. But the day in the life is really going to be consistent of knowing your audience, knowing your customer. You are essentially representing the customer voice of the products that you represent. So some of that's spent researching how do those customers think, what are their buying behaviors, where are they spending their time, right? Are they on social channels? Are they in various communities and forums? Where are they? Of course, that then gets into your language. So as a product marketer, there is quite a bit of writing that you do, and it's a mix of technical writing as well as creative writing. So that's where you spend a lot of your time as well, is yes, having those quippy marketing moments where you're creating fun taglines, but also when you're writing more long form articles like blog posts, white papers, and others that are much more narrative based. And then, of course, there's a lot of stakeholder management. So from day in and day out, you're going to be collaborating with your product management team. Sometimes that does extend into your engineering groups to understand what's happening with the latest release, the latest launch that you need to be privy to. And then that, of course, goes into your sales and customer-facing roles, where you need to be understanding, again, what you're researching in your buyer pipeline. How does that actually translate to what the field and the sales team is dealing with from their daily perspectives? So I think those are maybe the three big cornerstones in terms of where your where your head's going to be out from time to time. But it comes in waves and comes in cycles in terms of, are you on a launch? Is there a big release? Is there a big event that you're trying to coordinate? And the work that kind of goes with all of those different projects.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I think that's a helpful summary. So it sounds like it's sort of like some component of time spent, researching and really understanding your end customers, some amount of time communicating through written form, whether it's copywriting for maybe a marketing page or blog posts, promotions or launches, that type of thing, collaboration with the other stakeholders. And then maybe there was like a fourth bucket that's sort of related to researching the customer, but like working with sales to ultimately sell to that customer.
To sell to that customer and just validate, is the marketing that you're doing working? Is it helping them move the needle? Is it accelerating deals? And is it landing? Is that language making sense? So
right, like closing that feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And on that third bucket of collaboration, because I do think a lot of folks are curious about this. You mentioned, you may have to work with your engineering team at times or your product manager. What does some of that collaboration look like? Like, what's like a tactical example of like how you might collaborate with a PM or an engineer on any given day?
Sure. I think I'll relate this maybe to a specific example around launching a new product. And this can range from, again, a brand new, say, SKU. If we're a production of shoes, maybe it's a brand new shoe line. If you're more on the technical end for a SaaS organization, maybe it's a completely new product in terms of, a community. Maybe you're launching a new community platform.
Sure. Yeah.
So in that regard, when you're working with your product management team, you're going to be getting into the weeds of, what is it that we're launching and why should my customers care about it? With it being, say, a community platform, we're going to want to understand the competitive landscape of other offerings that exist in the market. So that's where I as a product marketer will go and do the research and understand, what people like, what people don't like, and where we can maybe find some differentiation. I'll bring that information back to my product management team, kind of share my learnings, and that might get into their builds in terms of building a specific capability or a feature. And then of course, I want to hear back from the product management team, what are the things that we're building that might separate us? What are the features, the capabilities, the nuances, even the UI experience that I can tie into my marketing language and build out to promote the product or the service? So that's that's one angle and one very like tip of the iceberg for launches, but that's definitely something where you see that collaboration between the PM and PMM. So I think those are maybe the three big cornerstones in terms of where your where your head's going to be out from time to time. But